We're here today with Miss McKinney's fourth grade class. This is part of Montgomery County. And also Phi Tau Sigma, which is an honor society for food science and technology. So we're really happy to have Renata and Leah and Dajun here with us. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to them.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here. My name is Renata. I'm here representing the Phi Tau Sigma Society, and as Phyllis said, we're going to present the science behind food.
Hi, my name is Leah Hamilton. I do a lot of research with the way that things taste.
Hi everybody, I'm Dajun Yu, and everyone call me Daisy. Currently, I work on breeding edamame, like more nutritional edamame.
So I'm going to share a video. It talks a lot about what we do here in the Food Science and Technology Department. Hello, my name is Renata Carneiro. I'm a graduate student at the Department of Food Science and Technology, and today I'm here to talk about the science behind food. But first, do you know what does a food scientist do? We can be responsible for processing, safety, and quality control of different foods like this edamame. We can also work in product development and sensory evaluation. Here at Virginia Tech, people can come to the Sensory Evaluation Lab to taste different food samples and help our researchers working on the development of new products. They tell us whether they like the food or not, if the food tastes too sweet or too salty. Then we can make sure you have delicious food in the grocery stores.
Hi everybody, my name is Catherine Petzenpoo. I'm a postdoc in Dr. Jacob Lawn's Sensory Evaluation Lab in the Food Science and Technology Department here at Virginia Tech.
This month in the Sensory Evaluation Lab, people are tasting and smelling delicious berries like strawberries for science.
We want the panelists to come in to enjoy the different aromas and flavors that they're getting from the berries, but we also want them to think of the berry as a tasting or smelling for science type of experiment. I give them all the berry samples and they describe in their own words, without any of my probing or any of their peers, the odor or the flavor of the berries. And then we as a group will list all of the words that you guys can see behind me here. These are some of the words from our last session that they got for the flavor of strawberries. And also we asked the panelists to help us in describing and replicating these odors. I always encourage them to be as descriptive as possible in describing what they're smelling or tasting, and also be as descriptive as possible in what type of reference standard that I can go out and get for them at the grocery store. So for example, if a panelist says that something smells like vanilla, I can go to the grocery store and I can get a bunch of vanilla samples, right? I can get vanilla extract, I can get vanilla bean, I can get vanilla ice cream.
So next time you have a strawberry, think about the flavors to describe it. Let's learn with Dr. Ponder how to make kombucha at home. Here's what you need. 1/4 cup cane sugar, 3 cups hot water, 2 bags of black tea, 1/2 cup started tea or white vinegar, and an active SCOBY.
For our first step, we're going to make a saturated solution of tea and sugar. And that sugar, sucrose, is going to give the yeast and the acetic acid bacteria and lactic acid bacteria that are present in the SCOBY the carbohydrates that they need in order to start their fermentation. So it's really helpful to start out with boiling water in order to get our sugar into solution, and then we're going to add our tea bags. So now we're just going to wait until this cools, because if we put our SCOBY in right now, it is going to die.
Let the tea cool to room temperature. Remove the tea bags and pour the tea into a jar. Add the starter tea or vinegar, then add your SCOBY. Store your jar at room temperature and let it sit for 7 to 10 days. The bacteria and yeast in the SCOBY are changing the sugary tea to a fizzy, more sour beverage using a process called fermentation, which makes new flavors and aromas. Fermented foods or beverages like kombucha are produced or preserved by microorganisms, and there are a lot of fermented products. Some examples include yogurt, sauerkraut, pickles, and did you know even chocolate? One of the processing steps for chocolate is a fermentation. Well, let's talk about any other questions you may have. Thanks for being here with us.
Is the 5-second rule real?
That's an excellent question. Well, as a food scientist, I should say no. But as a person, I would say yes. Actually, it's not good to taste anything that falls in the floor, or you don't know the surface is it's clean or not, because you can put your health in risk and you can get sick. So it's better to avoid the 5 seconds rule.
What makes chocolate sweet?
Ooh, that's very nice question. And I can tell you that I worked at a chocolate factory, my first job. In the factory, I discovered that chocolate is not sweet. So when you have the cocoa liquor, it's really bitter and really dark. And that's why when you have dark chocolate, it's bitter because you have more of this cocoa liquor. So what makes chocolate sweet is sugar. The same sugar we put an example in the tea to make kombucha, the same sugar.
How is food edible?
The funny thing is, like, not everything in the food is edible. Do you agree with me? So if you eat the corn, an example, you don't eat the whole corn, right? You just eat the grains. So what makes the food edible? Sometimes there are things in the food that our organism cannot digest. Some fibers, an example, and that's why we shouldn't eat grass, because our organism cannot digest those fibers, and that's why grass is not edible. So I would go for that. If your organism can digest everything and not be, I would say, hurt by the food, because we don't want to get anything that will be poison also, then it's edible.
Why does food taste?
There are two big things that contribute to make food taste different. One thing is the composition of the food, and the other thing is how you make the food. So in terms of composition, it's just like making a cake at home. If you put more sugar, it's going to be more sweet, right? If you put chocolate, you have a chocolate cake. If you put corn, you have a corn cake. But let's say that Mother Nature was in a happy day and put a lot of more sweet, an example, in the berries. But one day she was not so happy, and she put a lot of bitterness in the coffee, an example. And so the Mother Nature changed the composition of the food, and that's why they taste different. And at home, when we cook, or mom cook at home, usually sometimes she puts a little bit more of salt and can be very salty, or put a little bit more of pepper, and that's the preparation part that changes.
Why do foods look like shapes sometimes?
So if you can think, there's not like a part of the chicken that looks like a dinosaur. So we have to sort of, I think you can imagine if you ever made cookies and that you have that dough that sort of you can mold into different shapes. When they make the dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets at the factory, they will take the chicken and shred it up, and then you can like put pieces of it back together, or you could cut pieces out of it that are shaped in a certain way, and then you put breadcrumbs on it and you fry it, and they're very tasty with ketchup, as I'm sure you're all aware. So.
And I just want to take a few minutes to thank everyone for being here. Students, you all have some fabulous questions. Thank you for preparing those in advance. You did a great job.